What is Jon Jones' legacy with the history of PED use? Although officially, Joe, we must note, all of his PED use was found to be either by negligence or unintended, basically. All of it. Now, does that mean that I believe that? Not necessarily, but I think it's safe to say that. He just set a gaggle of records, most unbeaten UFC championship fights. He tied the most title wins with GSP, most title fight wins. He has the record, I believe, for most consecutive fights unbeaten in the UFC. I got to say unbeaten because it's not winning streak because he has that overturned fight against Daniel Cormier. What is Jon Jones' legacy through all this?
I think he's, for the most part, he's always going to be remembered for that PED usage and stuff that he's done outside of the cage, as well as what he's done inside the cage. It's unfortunate because if none of that stuff happened, we'd be talking about, I don't even think there'd be a conversation of him not being the GOAT. Right? Like he'd be considered the greatest of all time, no matter what. But with all the stuff that's happened outside of the cage, people will think about that. And of course, all the PED stuff and the other rumors that have been out there and what he's done, even non-PED related with car accidents and items of that nature. So Jon Jones's legacy, in my opinion, will always have asterisks all over the place with people thinking more negative than positive. We can't kid the fact that he's gifted. I mean, the guy does things in the cage that no one should be able to do, but he's also super blessed with a body type that nobody can match. You can't mimic that guy in training. Who are you going to get? Someone tall, someone lanky? They're not going to have the skill set that Jon Jones has, because if they did, they'd be in the top 15, top 10, top 5, no matter what in that division, right? So it's very difficult to replicate when you're preparing for a guy like Jon Jones. But the guy, in the cage, magical. Outside of the cage, not so magical.
So depending on how he perceives what being a champion means, he said that he wanted to become a 20-time champion. Now, to a lot of people, that means a lot of different things. To a lot of people, that means winning the title 20 times. Obviously, he means winning and defending it.
Yep.
He's at about 12, 13, depends on how you count interims, depends on how you count the Cormier fight. That makes one think that he's going to fight 7 or 8 more times at least. Now, do I doubt that he can do it? No, I don't. Not at all. He's just 31. He'll be 32 next month. Or not next month, this month. This month, like next week. Do you see him doing that? Do you see him actually fighting 7 or 8 more times? Because that's changed. He used to say mid-30s he was out. Or early 30s he was out.
I think he does want to fight 2 or 3 times a year, but every time he fights, we're always like, you and I always talk about, is this fight actually going to happen? There were people that were throwing out fake news stories out there that people were jumping on right away over this past weekend about him being popped for something or the fight's off and this and that. People were believing it. They were believing it, right? It's just the nature of a Jon Jones fight that you sit there and you think to yourself, is this fight going to happen? Is it really going to happen? And if you look at the guys in the top 15 right now at 205 pounds, there's no one really there that you think, you know what, is going to beat Jon Jones. I mean, Daniel Cormier is listed at number 1 right now, right? But he's defeated Thiago Santos. He obviously, not manhandled Anthony Smith, but just basically shut Anthony Smith down. Dominic Reyes is there. I don't know why Gustafsson is still ranked at number 5, but it's another story altogether. You could look at Jan Blachowicz, but I don't think he's ready. Oezdemir, no. Corey Anderson, we'll see what happens with him. Either Latifi sliding down the rankings. He's already fought Glover Teixeira. Then you get the guys from 11 to 15 that, Johnny Walker might be a guy if he doesn't hurt himself in post-fight celebrations. Racic is there. He's already defeated who? That's how he became the champ. And do you really think Nikita Krylov and Serkinov are ever going to get a title shot?
Hell no.
Not today, not in this day and age. A lot of things will need to happen and need to change for that to happen. But again, you're talking about a guy that's super blessed and with a frame that's very difficult to deal with, and he's able to cut weight. People back in the day would complain so much that it's not fair. It's not fair that Johnny Bones Jones can fight at 205 pounds. He's a natural heavyweight. He should be fighting at heavyweight. He shouldn't be allowed to cut weight. This whole weight cutting thing, even though Michael Bisping said it, it's been something Andy Foster, the California State Athletic Commission, and the whole association of boxing commissions have been talking about for quite some time, where eventually they're going to start measuring, fighters in their bodies and the water in their bodies, and minimums and maximums that they can compete at, constant measuring and monitoring, like USADA does right now with their uninvited test sort of thing, and random testing. Same thing with the commission. So I think eventually you're going to start seeing different guys and girls in different weight classes, more natural, less weight cutting. And I think it should have happened a long, long time ago. I hope it happens even sooner. But until it happens, we're going to still see guys and girls with drastic weight cuts that affect their performance for the most part.